Welcome everybody to Build to Last with simplabs. In this video series, we are talking to people from the tech industry about their experiences building digital products and also building teams around building digital products. My name is Marco Otte-Witte. I'm the director of simplabs, and today I'm joined by Khalid Maliki, co-founder of Tykn. Hi, Khalid.
Hi, thank you for having us on the show.
Yeah, nice to have you. Please introduce yourself and also your company.
So like I said, Khalid Maliki, co-founder of Tykn, mainly doing the day-to-day operations in Tykn. That's my focal point. And with my user experience design background, I also are responsible for designing the product and refining it to become even a better product. So we at Tykn, we give opportunity through digital identity to people. And we work together with institutions such as governments, NGOs, and commercial parties, and actually bringing digital identity as we know today to even a higher level when it comes to privacy, security, and becoming actually, a new way of sharing data on the internet.
And I guess then it was you and a co-founder probably?
Exactly. So we started with the co-founder team in the beginning. Actually, worked along that and built up the team. Teams changed a lot, during the 4 years that we are established. And of course, today we are, a very small, compact, high-dense, productive team.
How many people do you have on your team now?
Core team now consists of 6 people, highly motivated and also experienced people that already worked in certain domains for many years. We started with a bigger team. As a startup, you get a lot of people on board just to validate your assumptions and IDs. But then you start really, growing and need to filter a lot of expertise and skills. And now at this stage, we are 6.
So did you see any growing pains already with a bigger team, sort of where you are more efficient now with a smaller team than you were before?
Exactly. That's what we really witnessed, is that with a smaller team now, self-managing team helps a lot. Also, one of the things that we brought in our culture is that, being self-managing, but also having straight, very concise communication channels where you really put, on paper what your thoughts are and how you can share that with the rest of the team. We have even a full philosophy on that written in our Notion. And we started, as I said, with a bigger team, but we saw that if you're starting with a big team and most of them maybe, just graduating. And of course, we also have always people that coming as an intern, which is a great asset to the company, and they bring always kind of a new, fresh way of thinking. But with this concise, actually, compressing the team and really having people that get things done is actually high productive and high effective.
That sounds very interesting. We are here huge fans of self-managing and teams and direct communication channels, task masters that walk around you do this, you do that, you do that. But let's maybe share some examples maybe of problems you experience with more, but maybe less experienced people.
Yeah. So when you start as a startup, you have a lot of assumptions to validate, right? So you have an ID, you have a concept that you want to work out. I think that the classic mistake that startups make is that they bring a lot of people on board in the hope that they actually, they can kind of bootstrap and get this step very, fast forward. But in the contrary, sometimes it kind of helps in the opposite way, because everyone has his own opinion and has a way to actually, validate these assumptions. And what we experienced at that time is that a lot of, especially if you don't have high manageable, people in the team that's actually self-managing, they're just waiting for orders, right? Just waiting for, okay, what do I need now to do now? And that's kind of the kind of the pain. They're great, bright people, by the way. Nothing about that, but just not the right fit for that moment. So for that moment, you really need to start with going to the field, validate those assumptions with a very small, highly focused team. And then from there, you can always scale up the team if you want to.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like self-management, self-organization certainly requires a bit of like, experience in like whatever you do. That's really true.
Exactly.
I mean, I think you can like if you have a good mix, like some seniors, some juniors, then you can sort of have the seniors sort of guide the juniors like through that sort of self-organization, right? But like there's a junior overweight, sort of it doesn't work out. Right?
Exactly. Some of the challenges we faced also doesn't have to do directly with the team. Of course, as I said, working in an area with a new cutting edge technology, which is not already kind of validated in the market. You don't have success stories. You don't have you really need to validate this thing if there is market for it. And for that it's very hard for someone like basically a newbie to the startup world to actually give you valuable input at that time. Maybe if there is an established organization where the culture is already there, and then then it's a very healthy mix to have junior and senior and all types of mixes. Yeah.
Did you back then in the sort of earlier days with a bigger team, did you have like sort of the classic structure with like product managers, engineers, designers, project managers, and so on? Because as you said, sort of the more people you have and the more junior they are, the more guidance you need to give, and that usually leads to that kind of organization, right?
Exactly. Yeah. We started with that types of titles, which we have found out that basically they don't hold a lot. And it's a learning process, because even for a lot of called seniors in our team, even if they have like many years of experience in this field or in any field, still this is like a new ID working on. So we're becoming an apprentice ourselves. So we need to learn a lot ourselves. And if you need to guide someone else, it's becoming a challenging thing, because you want to also have some sharing knowledge and bringing expertise over to the others.
So basically you're saying like lots of structure, lots of process, but still sort of like little productivity. And
we really started to see a difference when we focused on few things. The culture, first of all, we want to really improve the culture and have a culture set for the company, and have who are the people you really need now for this stage you're in. Because sometimes also startups might tend to think, and we might also have fell in that same trap, that you're already scaling up, right? You have you're thinking that you're already scaling up, but you're still actually in that validation process. Even if you have few clients, you have few success stories, you have traction, you're still not really scaling up. So they're kind of like leapfrogging to another step, and you need to take it really step by step, and growing your team with the right people at the right time as well.
So let's talk about how things are now with a smaller self-organized team. So can you describe sort of released feature or whatever?
Yeah, that's true. So 2020, of course, is still a very challenging year for a lot of companies, especially for startups. That's a thing. But for us, we had a hybrid team from day one, right? So we have a mix of cultures and ethnicities in the team. So we have somewhere we had located at the office, our office in The Hague, and somewhere spread out around the world. So we have people in India, Portugal, UK, everywhere. One thing didn't work for the culture is that because you are a hybrid team, it's more challenging, because they feel like missing out of the discussions that happening on location, right? So they feel always you need to have that kind of synergy, but you need to sync as well on the right time. So we thought, let's try out actually with the concept of just remote working, and that's actually going full remote and try it out even before COVID-19 started. But that. And then suddenly COVID-19 happened, and we actually started going full remote, I think, since January or February this year, even before the governments announced the lockdowns in Europe. And that actually, we saw that there is a high productivity in the team, and we saw that people were getting engaged, and we set up really strict rules where we said, the last resort, and it's mantra now in our team. The last resorts are this kind of Zoom calls. We don't do Zoom calls, you don't go. That's not the first thing you dive into. No, put things on Notion, put your thoughts there, ask for feedback. Let's get on the comments. Let's get on bringing in the right expertise. Don't waste time with others. And then the last resort, if it's needed, then you schedule a Zoom call.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you say that. Like, I mean, we're fully remote as well, not as far as India, but sort of we're like Germany, Portugal, Ireland, and so on. So we like know all that and basically do the same thing. Like even Slack or mentioning someone on Slack should be done like very carefully because it's like super disruptive as well. Right? But it's funny to see now with all of the companies that like are forced to go remote this year, like how sort of everybody thinks like working remotely means you should be like chatting on Slack or on Teams or whatever. You should be on calls like all day because that's doing the work, right? And it's basically what keeps you from doing the work. And doing the work properly is like writing things down in Notion or whatever tool you use, right? And something that I experienced as well, which you mentioned before, sort of like if you still have an office and you still have some people in the office and some people are not in the office, like for the people in the office, it's easy to not change, right? You would still have conversations, like maybe you like have stuff on the whiteboard or have your like famous sticky notes board on the wall sort of for your Kanban or whatever. And while sort of they think we can just like bring in the remote people every now and then, like send them an update or so, that doesn't work. You're like alienating them, right? So even if you still have an office and you have people in the office, you have to do like you have to pretend you're all remote. Even if you're sitting next to the person, it's better to like have a conversation like via GitHub or via Notion or whatever than talking to them and not writing what you talked about down so that everybody else can see it as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and I totally agree on that. And it's like you said, you should have like really some guidelines, in place that kind of avoid of this kind of not working in the same like kind of environment. Another thing that worked for us as well, and for me, being a father and having kids, is actually going async. We don't have office times. It just we start our day, our Mondays with the weeklies, and then we just discuss our goals for that week, and then we have our dailies on a daily basis every morning. But also working async, so it doesn't have to be that I am, I just giving some time slots where others can book me if they want me. Basically, I could work at night. I could work anytime. It's I don't have to be during office hours in Slack or on Zoom or whatever tools we were using. That really worked for us because, of course, also different time zones, and I think you have experienced the same way thing. It really worked. It really works to work remotely, async, and as well a lot of documentation, a lot of and also keep it concise as well. That really worked for us. We're using a tool. I think I don't know if you know it, but it's called Office Vibe. It just it pushes you like it kind of measures your engagement and satisfaction within the team. And with that big team, like I told you earlier, we started actually, it pushes you like very simple questions, 5 questions every week. And it's kind of, just multi-choice questions, and you just select and you're done in like a few seconds. And we started like really, I think the average in the tech industry was like, I don't know, around 7.4 or something like that. And we were like below that all the time. And then since we went really full remote and we went like, with this kind of new culture, we saw that like it kind of skyrocketed, and now we're around like 9.2 or something like that, which really proud as a team as well. That shows kind of for the team as well that everyone is engaging and everyone's like is really happy with their place as well.
Yeah, remote is awesome. Like I've been working remotely for like I think 10 years or so.
Yeah, same here.
But yeah, like I said, with kids, it's different. I wouldn't work from home, for example. I prefer working from my office, but
it's challenging. By the way, it's challenging because just a few seconds ago, like I was telling the kids, like, shh, like don't. I'm in an interview, and I had it even once. I was pitching at a contest, and I was like, getting questions from the judges, and then my youngest kid like came in and just and I brought him like, here are my labs, and I was doing the interview with the kids. So yeah, it can happen that the kids interfere. It's challenging.
Everybody knows the famous video of the like BBC guy in Hong Kong or whoever that was. Right?
I'm having those moments a lot.
Previously, we talked about your team being self-organized and self-managed, and that being something that we value a lot as well. So, what does that mean in practice for your team? I guess it's like somebody setting a goal, and then the team figures out sort of the way how to reach that goal, versus like you saying you do this, you do that, you do that.
Yeah, exactly. So what we do give the room, and of course for everyone to set own goals on a weekly basis. But of course we have our general goals that we per quarter or per month we want to achieve, and then we discuss them basically every Monday as a team. We discuss them actually. If I'm setting a goals, they're not realistic, or they're not actually maybe even a product guy or a marketing guy could deprioritize my goals because it's not necessary for now. You could like give me the sign for it's very important to what you're saying now, Khalid, but for now I would work on this and this, and that's kind of a way to give responsibility also to every one of the team to think with us. And we are really lucky with, as I said, with this team that they own actually the thing. They're not just here to do work and that's it, but they're really owning the problem, owning the solution as well. And then every Friday we have, of course, as many other companies have, the cool downs, and then we discuss our achievements, but also our failures, and we celebrate them as well.
I mean, what you said before is like, I think, a really important aspect of self-management, self-organization. That is the only way, so for a team to feel ownership of the thing they're building, whatever that is, right? If you're just like executing somebody's plan, you're just like working on sort of small tasks at a time, and then you're just like coding monkeys or design monkeys or whatever. Like sort of nobody cares about your expertise and your experience that you would have to contribute besides sort of your bare labor. Sort of looking back now, so you said the company was. Or the idea started in like 2016, like 4 years ago or so, and then like 3 years ago you founded you probably founded the company. What would be like in hindsight? What would be like sort of the one thing that you wouldn't do again that you did, or that you would do differently if you had known what you know now?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there are always many things that you wouldn't change, but I'm really lucky that I met certain people in this process. A few things we could also done is going into validation process very quickly, and by validation you really need to go out of the building and going in straight into the field and really stress test your hypotheses. On the other hand, we couldn't do a lot because, like I said, it's something that is not established yet. We're not working on an analytics tool solution or something that is already kind of established that you can follow the best practices. So there are no best practices at that time. Another thing which I can mention, of course, and I think link to that earlier in this discussion is don't scale up too fast with a team, but rather look into what do you really need at that stage, and validate your assumption before hiring or bringing more people that might also not be necessary in that phase. You're saving time for yourself, but also for others. Yeah. Those are a few things that actually just come to mind, but I think there are many more, of course.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Sure. Everybody made a lot of mistakes building their companies,
and they're really important. Those mistakes, they're really important.
Yeah, sure, that's true. I mean, yeah, what you say about scaling is something I totally see in my experience and when we work with clients as well. It's like actually figuring out a way to scale your output with the team size is probably one of the hardest problems you can be facing in digital product development. Or so many startups just hire a bunch of people when they have sort of just closed the seeding round, and then they wonder why there's no output, right? And that's because, as you say, they don't have sort of the necessary infrastructure and culture and everything you need before they onboard the people, and then they just stand there and say, what am I supposed to do? How do things even work? Right?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, for example, we are now reaching a phase where you kind of need you need more testers, you need more Q&A, you need that kind of type of people. If we have done that maybe a year or 2 years ago, there wouldn't be much to test. There wouldn't be much to actually bring valuable input, and that would be also devastating for the motivation of people, and that's not healthy for the overall culture in the company.
What are your plans for, like, let's say, next year or so?
Yeah, next year is actually upscaling our product development team. But also before doing that, of course, we need to have even a better product market fit, and we need to really validate the product in certain areas before moving to another domain. We have been, of course, any startups is like in the few first years pivoting from clients, from like use cases, solutions even, and actually now we are starting to feel that there is okay, now we see that there is a need, there is a market. Now let's really make the product robust and stable enough that it really can scale up very quickly when the times comes for that. That's like for the coming period. And of course, maintaining the culture and maintaining the good habits that we have built in the team for the past few years. One thing I want to mention as well is that we always give to any new employee at Tykn with those welcome packages. We include the book, The Culture Map. For me, that was really eye-opening. It was advised to me like a few years ago by a strategic advisor that we have.
Yeah.
And since we are dealing, and I think your team as well, and you're dealing with different backgrounds, different ethnic backgrounds, cultures, and it really opened the eye how to communicate with each other. Why is, for example, someone from India not expressing himself or herself in a way that I would be like, as a Dutch, very direct, we low context, very so understanding that gives you a lot, and also them understanding about you, that you are, as a Dutch guy, and you're not rude, you're a nice guy, but just very direct. That helps a lot. That helps a lot in culture. It helps a lot in building relationships, and also when you do also the outbound sales as well, it helps a lot. Yeah,
I don't know that book, but I'll have a look.
It's an amazing book. It's Erin Myers is the writer, and she did a really great job. I love that book.
Yeah, like very insightful conversation overall. Very interesting. I guess like we wish you all good luck with your company. I think it's Tykn.tech, right?
Yes, that's the website, and also you can also subscribe to our newsletter. And I'm proud to say that as well, one of the best perceived newsletters in the identity space. And also on Twitter, of course, you can find us Tykn_tech. And on LinkedIn as well. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, thanks Khalid again for joining. That was Khalid Maliki, co-founder of Tykn.
Thank you, Marco.
Good.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.